Let the same mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus, who, though he was in the form of God, did not regard equality with God as something to be exploited, but emptied himself, taking the form of a slave, and being born in human likeness, and being found in human form, he humbled himself, and became obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. Hello, I'm Dr. Greg Neal, Senior Pastor of the congregation at Grace United Methodist Church in Des Moines, Iowa. The Church's faith in the incarnation of God in Jesus of Nazareth is summed up in these words found in Paul's letter to the Philippians. This is what is usually called the Christ hymn. It was a very early affirmation of how Christians understood Jesus as God's presence among us. In it, the Church sings that God emptied Godself into the form of a slave, into human likeness and form, into Jesus of Nazareth. In the incarnation, God became one of us. God became one of us so that we might become one with God. This is also a part of the holy mystery of the real presence of Jesus in the sacrament of Holy Communion. In communion, United Methodists believe that God, as we come and eat and drink in faith, God empties God's self, God's love, God's acceptance, God's favor, God's forgiveness, God's grace into us. God pours through bread and wine God's very presence into us so that we might share God's presence with others. That's why Holy Communion, the Lord's Supper, the Eucharist, is so important for us. It is a means of grace by which we are nourished, fed, strengthened, affirmed, and included in the very life of God. This coming Sunday, I invite you to worship at Grace United Methodist Church, where we will celebrate God's presence in Christ through the sacrament of Holy Communion. Come and be fed, be nourished, be blessed by God's grace. Worship begins at 10:15 a.m. U.S. Central Time, both in person and online. Until then, may God's grace be with you.